Hey friends, how's it going? Welcome back to the Deep Dive Snippet. In this little clip, I'm speaking to Will Storr, the author of the best-selling book, The Status Game. And in this little clip, he and I are talking about that, given that we know that ultimately we're all fundamentally motivated by the chase and the desire for social status, how can we use that concept to end up being more likable at work and in our day-to-day lives and through the people that we come across? Now, this is not a video clip about the science of manipulating people for your nefarious ends or anything like that. It's literally a guide on how to understand human motivation and therefore use that to be more likable at work, if that's what you're into. But anyway, let's roll the clip. There was an interesting chapter where you talked about sort of the real life cues that we give off when we are higher status or lower status. And I wonder, like, often, we did a survey for the podcast and people said that they like getting actionable tips that they can apply in their work life. Yeah. And I was kind of thinking that, like, are there actionable tips that you can apply in your work life? For example, knowing that the status game exists in every relationship you're going to have at work, for example.
Yeah, I think so. One of the things I think is really important is in the business context is to always have that understanding that you're never the hero in other people's stories. They're always the hero. They're always the one on this great pursuit of status, which their brain remixes as this kind of heroic, pursuit. And so it's much better in the business context to come across as like you're a helpful person in their story. Yeah. So there's a story scholar who I think was a really smart guy called Christopher Booker, who wrote a book called The 7 Basic Plots. It's like a huge, 2,000 page thing, I think, is like a huge kind of tome. But he writes about this archetypal figure in story called the light figure. And the light figure is like
the light as in light.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. The light figure.
Okay.
And the light figures come into the story and they're like the ghosts in the Christmas Carol. Yeah. Their job is there to help Scrooge become heroic, to see the area. And so I think in the business context, if you go in there boasting, I'm amazing, you want to work with me, I'm fantastic, you're going to put people off because you're not the hero, they're the hero. Yeah. And so you're much better off being the light figure, and your story is, this is how I'm going to help you gain status, I'm going to do these things to help you. And so that's the first thing. And then the second thing is about impression management. So there's lots of science has looked at how socially do we give a good impression to other people. And for a long time they talked about two domains, warmth and competence. Yeah. And more recently, it's been argued that there should be a third domain added to that, which is morality. Okay. And when I was reading about this, it really struck me because in the book, I write about there's 3 status games. There's dominance, which is the aggressive, animalistic status game. There's virtue and there's success. And those 3, they called them warmth, competence, and morality, but I called it warmth, competence, and sincerity. Okay. Map on perfectly to those 3 status games. Yeah. So I don't know, but I don't think that's a coincidence. Yeah. I think that it's interesting that those map onto those 3 status games so well. And the logic is, when you approach somebody with warmth, what you're subconsciously signaling to that person is that I'm not going to compete for status with dominance with you. I'm not going to threaten you. I'm not going to coerce you. I'm not going to use physical violence against you. So we're going to have a healthy, non-aggressive status game. When you're signaling with sincerity, you're saying, I'm going to play a good virtue game with you, which is I'm going to be, morally respectable. And that's not mean I'm going to suck up to you. I'm not going to give you bullshit. I'm going to tell you the truth. And when I'm not happy, I'm going to tell you I'm not happy. So I'm going to be sincere. I'm always going to be honest with you. And then finally, competence. If you come across as a competent person, you are signaling, not only am I going to be useful to our group, our game, but you also might learn some stuff from me. So there are things that I can do, and if you learn how to do them from me, you're also going to raise in status. Yeah. So I think if you can, it's obviously easier said than done, but if you can manifest in those 3 ways, warmth, sincerity, and competence, it's very hard to know how you're going to fail in life. You can't just come across in those ways. You've got to actually live those ideals. You've got to be sincere. You've got to be non-aggressive. Yeah. And you've got to be competent. You've got to be good at you've got to be good at the thing that you're doing.
Hey friends, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, then click here for the full unedited episode. And if you like that, then do please consider subscribing to the channel. It means a lot. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.